My dad, my extended family, and I truly appreciate your presence here today. We know for some of you great distances were traveled and extra effort was made to be here. Since a physical or even a Zoom version of a Catholic Mass was not available to us when Ellie died on April 29th, 2020, and due to the fact that our entire family lives out of state, literally all over the world, our brother Mitch lives in Hong Kong, we needed to wait until it was safe to travel and gather. And yet, here we are in the middle of another pandemic surge, which of course we could not anticipate when we scheduled this last November. So again, thank you for your patience, understanding, and your commitment to be here. This memorial celebration is a homegrown effort to honor and celebrate Ellie. As a lifelong Catholic, I have personally only attended a funeral mass to honor those that have passed. When I realized I would be creating this event, I reached out to a friend from college for help regarding biblical readings. She responded that in listening to my stories and comments throughout the years, such as, my mom says that. Oh, my mom always does that. Oh, my mom taught me that. Oh, thank you, my mom made it. That Proverbs 31 would speak best to our dad and to her family.
Hi everyone, my name is Grantland. I am one of Ellie's grandchildren, and as Mary said, I am going to read a small portion of Proverbs 31, titled The Virtuous Woman. A good wife who can find. She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax, and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She opens her hand to the poor, and reaches out her hand to the needy. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of loneliness or idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. This Bible verse speaks to the virtuous woman and the home she creates for her husband and her family. My grandpa will tell you that he could not have lived his great life without Ellie. And as my Aunt Melinda says, she always had a way to turn lemons into lemonade and ensure everyone in her family and her home was taken care of. We are all grateful for her selfless efforts to make her home a happy one. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm over to your right, far end of the room. I'm Ellie's grandson Turner, and I'm going to play a song. I wish you wisdom, I wish you ears, I wish you armies to conquer all your fears. I wish you courage for all that life demands. I wish I could be there, but I can't.
I took it for granted that everyone had a mom that sang to records and later CDs in a beautiful voice for the joy of it. One time in 4th grade, a friend was visiting while my mom was singing and asked me if that was Julie Andrews singing. The big hit Sound of Music had just been released and everyone had heard of it and Julie Andrews, but it was my mom singing, unaware that she was being heard. My mom embraced and loved all types of vocal music that spoke to her soul. When Josh Groban hit the music scene, I remember a phone call about how I just had to hear him. He was amazing. Another phone call, did I know of Kenny Chesney and his song, The Boys of Fall? My son Turner was playing high school football at the time and we just had to listen. A Kenny Chesney CD showed up at our door later that week and is now a personal favorite. I can hear her singing and feel her joy. My mom touched my soul with her gifted voice and her love of music. I hope all of you feel her touching your souls today. In the words of Irving Berlin, the song is ended, but the melody lingers on.
Hello, I'm Melinda. I'm Tom and Ellie's youngest daughter. I'm going to read some words from my brother, who's not here. Hello, everyone. I am Mitch. I am Ellie's son. I am unable to be here today due to the quarantine policies currently in place in my home, Hong Kong. But I'd like to thank you today for coming out to pay your respects to my mother. We will miss her. We all miss her very much, but her legacy lives on in the family that she raised and the friendships that she made throughout her life. Words fail me when I reflect on my mother's life. I feel fortunate to be her son, and it's an honor to call her my mother. I feel like it would take a lifetime to write all of the beautiful memories I shared with her. I would like to share a few with you. I hope they can convey how wonderful of a mother she was. When I was in first grade, my father became seriously ill with spinal meningitis and was hospitalized here in Phoenix and later moved to a California hospital when his condition worsened. Over those several weeks, the pressure on my mother must have been immense, as my father teetered on the brink of death. But she never showed the stress she was under to her children. She was the epitome of grace under pressure. My mother took her job as a homemaker seriously. Every room in our home here in Phoenix was either wallpapered or painted or decorated by her. She was skilled with the sewing machine and a pair of knitting needles. She had a keen interest in landscaping, and the front and backyards of her home were made over by her several times over the years. She was a restless creator, always looking for her next project. My mother would deny it, but she was also an excellent cook. Thanksgiving and Christmas meals were always special events that she managed without drama and with an attention to detail. One of my mother's cooking tradition bears mentioning. When my mother cooked lasagna, it almost always meant that someone in the neighborhood had passed away. It was her tradition to cook up a batch of lasagna and deliver it to the home of the bereaved family. To this day, I associate lasagna with death, but I will ever miss her delicious marinated flank steak, shrimp scampi, cherry cake, and hazelnut cookies. My mother was a bright force of nature. She loved the color red, regardless if it were on an article of her clothing or on the cabinets and countertops of her kitchen or on her beloved PT Cruiser. She had the ability to make genuine small talk and to make people from all walks of life feel welcome and comfortable with a sunny smile and a heartfelt laugh. If you are lucky as a parent and an adult, you develop a circle of true friends, and maintaining those friendships becomes a ritual of trust and pleasure. I know that my mother, and of course my father, relished the friendships they had developed over the years. Ellie treasured her trips to Sedona, weekend trips to Las Vegas, her lunch bunch, her tennis group, and many other friendships, some of which extended over several decades, and perhaps touched many of you here today. So I grieve today with my father, who has lost the best wife possible, with my sisters and their families who have lost a true friend, a mother, grandmother, and with you, her friends. We all have suffered a huge loss. She taught us all what it really is important in life, to love, to support, and care for the friends and families in our lives. We are all better off having known her. It was a great privilege to be her son. I miss my mom dearly. She was the definition for me of home. She was the feeling that you get when you know everything will be okay just because she is there. Her presence was the warm embrace that you needed when things got tough or you felt pain. Her smile, laughter, and her sense of sarcasm too, was the remedy to lift your spirit and realize not all was doomed. My mother's last years were tough on her as she struggled with Alzheimer's. She was such a fighter and so strong that even when she struggled to speak, she would get out a statement that was spot on, or a humorous roll of her eyes at just the right moment to let me know how ridiculous someone was being. I now like to think she's relaxing, and making a home for everyone she meets in heaven. I envision her sitting on an Adirondack chair with a sweet tea in one hand and a Southern Comfort Manhattan on the rocks in the other, smiling down on all of us, knowing she made a difference in all of our lives. Thank you.
I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. And I can fly higher than an eagle. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings.
I'm Mallory. Hopefully my loud voice is good for this audience. My grandparents used to send us cards for every holiday, big life moment, so today I wanted to share a letter to hopefully convey how much those letters and cards meant to me over the years. Dear Grandma, if I were to create a Wheel of Fortune round with the prompts, traits you share with your grandma, our correct answer would be sweet tooth. And even though my sweet tooth has caused me a smidge of internal conflict over the years, I wouldn't trade our moments of eating cream puffs while watching that horrible show, Hot in Cleveland, for anything. Even for your incredible voice that blessed me on so many birthdays. Or even when I see the creativity, kindness, and humor that you pass down to my siblings. Because while they're lucky enough to share some of your most amazing traits, I get to spend every day enjoying those parts of you. So more than anything, I want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting me, for creating a home and a family that I want to come visit, and for always worrying about me, no matter how little the concern. But most of all, thank you for being the best mother to my mom. The love, wisdom, humor, and influence you bestowed on her were the greatest gift you could have ever given me, as she was only able to be the best because of everything you were to her. The love and influence you shared with your children allowed me to never doubt how much my family will always be there for me, a support that I'm eternally grateful for as I navigate the big, scary world. When I think about what I want to accomplish one day, I reflect on the amazing life that you had. You built a family of brilliant minds, creative passions, and the fullest hearts. You traveled the world and opened your heart to everyone. Your humor brightened the day of everyone around you. One day, I hope to build a loving family, to explore, to laugh the hard times off, and to shamelessly indulge in my sweet tooth. But more than anything, I hope that one day I can be a fraction of the mother, grandmother, and woman that you were. While I miss you every day, your legacy shines on in the best and most loving family, and I hope I can honorably be a part of your story until I see you again. With all the love in your world, all the love in the world, from your favorite grandchild.
But I unfortunately also did not get her singing gene, unlike my brother, or he's back here now, where did he go? And other brother. But I always thought that poetry was kind of like music without words. So I'm going to read a little poem I found that I think she would like. God looked around his garden and found an empty place. He then looked down upon the earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He saw the road was getting rough and the hills were hard to climb. So he closed your weary eyelids and whispered, "Peace be thine." It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For part of us went with you the day God called you home.
Smile.
many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. And yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. Is that why it is called the present? Ellie looked at each new day as a gift. A high school friend wrote to say she will forever miss the Sunshine Girl. Dr. Gary Chapman, author of the 5 Love Language book, helps you discover your love language. It was clear to all that knew her that Ellie's love language was the giving of gifts. She was thoughtful, kind, generous to family, friends, neighbors, as well as those that she did not know. Ellie took every opportunity to celebrate life, as Mallory alluded to, sending special cards and gifts at just the right time. And our birthday cards arrived in the mail exactly 1 day before the birthday. She delivered goodies to neighbors and created and organized the neighborhood Luminari celebration, which continues today. She always thought of those she loved and cared for them when she brought back gifts from her travels. Even as Alzheimer's entered her life, she never stopped thinking of others and tied over 200 fleece blankets for organizations that serve the less fortunate. And now I'm going to introduce Trudy Kiesewetter, Ellie's sister, to come and say a few words.
Thank you, Mary. As she said, I'm Ellie's sister, her youngest sister. There were 13 years difference between us. And I feel blessed that I was born into the family that I was born into. And I feel blessed that when I moved down to Arizona 25 years ago, that Ellie and her family embraced me. And I've been grateful for that ever since. I just wanted to share a few memories of Ellie from my childhood and her childhood. And we had a cottage that my father built. And when my father died, we would go to the cottage only to clean it and get it ready for the next tenant because we had to rent it out. And there were snakes that made a bed underneath the porch. So we'd get out of the car, we'd cross the street, we'd each get a big rock, and then we'd take a circuitous route to the stairs to go onto the porch. And we'd stomp on the stairs, the snakes would come out, and we'd drop the rocks on the snakes. Now, any of you who know Ellie knew she was not really excited about doing this part, but she did it. Another memory that I have of Ellie, well, there's so many I can do, but, and I only have a limited period of time. She was an incredible sister. There were 3 of us, Ellie, Rosie, and me, and all 3 of us sang. And I remember so many times I said to Ellie when we were in the middle of a song, why don't we become the second Lemon Sisters? And she said, no, I'm too shy. She was not shy. As Mary alluded to, towards the end of her life, she encountered Alzheimer's or dementia, which is hard for her, but it was also hard for the whole family. And I feel blessed that I was retired by that time and I was able to take her to exercise so she could exercise, pick her up, and then we'd go have a dinner or lunch rather at restaurants on 7th Street. We went to every restaurant on 7th Street. Then we'd go home and we'd have sweet tea, as someone's alluded to again, and we'd paint birdhouses in the backyard, or decoration things, or as Mary mentioned, the blankets that she knitted. She knitted so many, or not knitted, but tied, fleece blankets. So I am so blessed that I had at least that time with her that was special one-on-one. So I thank you all for coming out today, and thank you for the feelings that you had for my sister. Thank you.
One of Ellie's favorite humorous writers was Irma Bombeck. Irma made Ellie laugh throughout the years. Ironically, it is one of Irma's more serious quotes that I share with you today. Irma writes, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left and could say, I used everything you gave me." Our family knows that Ellie used every bit of talent God gave her. And now my father, Tom Moore, would like to share a few words about his wife.
really thank all of you for taking the time and effort to attend this celebration of Ellie, and I'm sure she appreciates it as well. As you heard today, she was the rock of the family, and I was very fortunate that she was my loving wife for 62 years. Thank you.
So as we come to the end of this service, if we could please pray the Lord's Prayer, otherwise known as the Our Father, together, praying not only for Eleanor Moore, but also for those families of loved ones and their precious loved ones that died alone, unable to be with their families at their time of need and the hour of their death due to the pandemic. And so we pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Thank you for your prayer, and thank you again for sharing with us. A few minor instructions after our final song. We will move over to the celebration part of today. We would love it if you would stay and chat with us and watch the photo slideshow created by Ellie's granddaughter, Kylie Khan. It will take us just a couple minutes to make that transition, but in the meantime, feel free to sign the guest book, make a comment. The restrooms are in the back of the room. The buffet food and drink line is open. We realize that some of you may not feel comfortable eating with us today. If you don't want to remove your mask, that's okay. If you just stay and socialize, we have to-go containers if you want them for the food. But we would love for you to talk with us. A special thank you over here to Keith Clark, our videographer. Keith will also be available for anyone that wants to add a message or a memory of Ellie. We would love it if you would choose to do this, but there's no pressure. Also, thank you to Benjamin Cortez at the piano over there, and Guadalupe Mosquito from St. Francis, as well as Joshua Condon, Gerard Charco, and his catering company. And now we will have our final song.
I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
I was on a 4-week fast because they can't.
Hello, my name is Bill Dooley. Those of you who know me understand this is not my natural voice, but I am at a time in my life when I must adapt to the reality of a changing health situation. In 1975, we left the U.S. Navy, as Kathy and I moved to Lake Havasu City to open our practice of ophthalmology, and within months went to a professional meeting in Scottsdale. After I asked a few questions, it was only a short time later when Tom tapped me on the shoulder to ask if I wanted to join him and others in an effort to assure quality eye care for all patients. The rest is history, as we became friends with Tom and Ellie. It was long before we attended the weddings of 2 daughters. Over the years we spent time with them on weekends, and our special place to join them was in Sedona during July. We enjoyed many weekends at Garland's Resort, enjoying good food, cool weekends, and many games of Trivial Pursuit. We are so pleased we are able to be here to share these moments with Tom and the other family members, because we all know Ellie is watching us and smiling.
Hey Mitch, your family gave your mom a very, very beautiful service, and we wish you were here. We miss you. There were some great stories told, and we can only hope that COVID's over and that we get to see you again. All right, sir? parts to you?
Mitch, love you. I didn't know all of the facets of your family or your mother, but I did cry through the whole entire summer. It was absolutely touching. What a wonderful woman she was. I did also tell your sister Marianne, it was really you that my mother wanted to marry, not Mr. Kolash, Dr. Kolash over here. So the next time in town, we look forward to seeing you again and appreciate you always stopping by to see us.
So Mitch, we've always been very close friends, and thank you for leaving Marianne to me. Very much appreciated. My eyes were tearing up the entire time, but they let loose when I went up to talk to your dad. Love your parents, love you. Take care, sir. See you soon.
Mitch Kanishwa. I know that's the wrong language, but I only know dim sum and General Tso in Chinese. That's it. Mitch, got your email. Thank you very much. I'm glad you made a personal touch to me to come to spend this time with your family, to say goodbye and remember a wonderful woman that she was. And I think I still have the bump from your diving board that she took care of on my head. So thank you, my friend. And send the money, wire transfer, make sure that I was here today. Thank you.
And when you move back, I also have to try to go back to the back bedroom and knock on your door, or window I mean, when you need to wake up and read the paper.